Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're conducting a HCMC stock update. We're going to talk about the court case, we're going to talk about the rights offering, we're going to talk about the price action, the price movement, loads of people's different opinions on what's going on, how this is going to affect the company. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then smash that like button, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will catch you in there. Hey guys, welcome into the video. So here we are at the statement from HCMC, from the CEO saying, essentially thanking people for their loyalty over the last few months or so, and we currently have 400,000 shareholders, the HCMC army basically going strong, and HCMC has 124 employees that have risen to the occasion even in the middle of the pandemic. So as a reward for this, essentially they're going to give shareholders the chance to buy shares at a 25% discount, upping the ownership that retail investors can have and can own in the company, and also raising $100 million in the process, which is absolutely massive and is going to be great for this company going forward. I've been into the actual SEC filing itself, more on that later as to what they're actually going to spend this money on, but essentially there is going to be no major dilution here, guys. They're not issuing extra shares, as in they're going to have extra outstanding shares. They're just going to be taken from what the company already has and shift them out to retail investors so we can own them instead of the company owning them, essentially. So there is going to be some dilution in with respect to who's going to actually own the shares, but as a whole there are no extra shares going to be available, essentially issued by the company. They're just going to be transferred from what was already owned out there to the float for investors to actually buy, essentially, rather than be held in the company reserve. I've been into the S1 filing, so we'll be having a look at that in a minute. There's been some fantastic price movement in the company over the last couple of days. On Monday we smashed our way up to 0.0019, and today we're sitting at 0.17 essentially. So there's been some really interesting price action as people react to this news and as we build up to the court case. Court case, you say? Well, I've been on Pace Monitor and obviously the submission is in for this, and now we wait patiently for the judge to rule on the motion to dismiss. If you ask my opinion on this one, this is definitely not going to get dismissed. We just have to be patient, and once the judge has thrown out that motion to dismiss, then we can get on to the next stage, to discovery and onwards from there. Now usually it takes anything up to 90 days for the judge to rule on this, so we're going to have to be really patient if it takes that long. That is what I have seen in the past, but it may happen a lot sooner than that. But at the moment we do not have an official date to work to for when that result can come through. So we'll just have to be patient, and I will of course update you if I hear anything there. With this 25% deal, people are getting super excited. I'm on the Facebook feed here for Healthier Choices Management Corp investors on Facebook, obviously, and there's a guy called Chris Wilson here that's made the firm decision that a 25% discount, being able to buy far more shares, that means he's in, and he's decided to go all in an effort that we might be able to squeeze out short sellers as a HCMC army. Now, moving into another person called Charlie Pearson, he's just trying to settle down people's nerves about the dilution. So essentially, if you can read through this comment, I'm not going to read it all because I don't want to bore you to death, but we're trying to avoid dilution and we're trying to avoid a reverse split, and that is exactly what Jeff and the CEO has done. This isn't a reverse split. They're not trying to take any shares off people or anything like that, or dilute people out, and I actually do think that HCMC do have their investors, and especially the board, do have their shareholders at heart when they make these decisions. So if you can read through, if you read through this statement, you can see that actually this will be beneficial and you're not going to get diluted out. So your ownership of the company might be of the original float might be a little bit smaller, but there is more shares available for you to buy. But however, the whole piece of the pie hasn't got any bigger, if that makes sense. It's a little bit complicated to explain, but I hope that I've made it clear there. So the segment of the portion that was available to buy is going to get a little bit bigger, because the HCMC are going to be transferring what they've got in reserve and offering them to you at a discounted price, but that whole piece of pie stays the same size overall. Moving on to Twitter, you can see that Mark Rumbold here has said that the S1's been filed and the SEC now takes 20 to 90 days for this to clear on. So let's be clear on this, there's no dilution, there's no reverse split, and we're going to be waiting 20 to 90 days for this to take place. If everyone subscribes, if you oversubscribe, then there could be more shares available for you. There's no firm date for this at the moment, because obviously we have to wait for the SEC to sign off on it, so it could be up to 3 months away. We just don't know yet. Again, that will be a date for later on. That SEC filing is available from the HCMC Twitter page, which almost has 25,000 followers now, which is absolutely fantastic considering they only set it up just a few weeks ago. And then you can get into the SEC filings on the website as well. And this is what I was really interested in. So we know that you're going to be able to get a decent reward for being a shareholder, 25% up to 25% off essentially, based on what you already own. So if you own 400,000 shares, then you can get 100,000 at a 25% discount. Absolutely fantastic. But what are they going to do? And this is going to raise them $100 million. But what are they going to do with this $100 million, you say? Because they're still waiting on a potentially massive payout from this court case. So what is that $100 million going to do in the near term? Well, what they've came up with here is a few bullet points within the filing to say exactly what they're going to do, and I'll read them to you. So we've got, they wanted to give the existing stockholders an opportunity to purchase additional shares. They have current capital resources and indebtedness and their future need for additional liquidity and capital. So they want to make sure that they've got a sound footing and extra liquidity available to deal with anything that they want to do. There's an increased need for financial flexibility in order to enable them to enact their business plan, essentially expansion, whether that be their online presence or whether that be their concrete storefronts, their hard storefronts. Either way, all of this takes some cash. So before the court case is even finished and they potentially raise money that way, they're going to raise money this way as well. The size and the time of the offering and alternative securities to be offered. The potential dilution of our current stockholders if they choose not to participate in this offering. So if you don't buy more shares or take advantage of this discount, then as I said earlier, the portion of the pie that you own will get slightly smaller. There'll be the non-transferability of subscription rights, and other alternatives aren't available for raising capital at this time. So that's just a little section within the S1 filing as to why they are conducting this offering and why they've arrived at the conclusion they have that they need to raise extra capital and the way that they're going to do it. This document is absolutely massive, guys, so if you do want to dive into it, do get yourself a cup of coffee and be prepared for a long read. You've got a lot of information being laid down. Some of the risks are available too. I've tried to pick out some of the best bits there and highlight that in this video, but there is a lot more information available than I can possibly present. So guys, hopefully that's cleared this up a little bit for you. So court case, no date at the moment, can take the judge up to 90 days to rule on this. We will just have to be patient. As soon as I know a date, I will get it to you as quick as possible. Moving on to the rights offering, so there is no extra shares being created or sold by the company. What is happening is they're selling them from their own reserve, and adding that to the amount that retail investors essentially own. However, if you do not take advantage of this rights offering and you don't buy what you're entitled to at the discount, then there are extra shares available in the market space, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, so that will dilute what you already own. There's a lot of opinionated people out there, so the pie itself, again I'm going to go back to it, the pie itself is getting no bigger, but the section of the pie that is owned by retail investors is getting bigger, and if you do not take advantage of the rights offering, then the portion of that you own as a retail investor, if you do not take advantage, will get diluted a little bit. But as a whole, the company is not issuing any extra shares, so as a complete extra, there are no new shares or fresh shares being added. They're just being sold from what is already authorized. A little bit complicated. I know there's a lot of people out there that are very opinionated on this as to what is dilution and what isn't. Hopefully I've cleared that up a little bit for you there. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. If you could show your appreciation by smashing that like button and considering subscribing to the channel, that would be absolutely awesome. Hopefully I'll see you in another investing episode. Catch you later.